Have you ever wondered what all of the furry fandom based animals or species are? You ever wanted to learn about the unique hybrids like Sergals, Manakits, Protogens, or Dutch Angel Dragons? They're considered to be exclusive species that act as Fursona options in the fandom. This is the same exact intro as the first video. The real question though is, how do these Fursonas or fandom species come to be anyways? What is the inspiration and origin of some of these creatures, and most importantly, what is this even supposed to be? Okay, that's just adorable. But heyo guys, my name's BetaEtaDelota, and today we'll be talking about the species of the furry fandom, the series dedicated to informing you guys about the need-to-know information on the different furry fandom species. Any sort of animal created by furries, you name it, we'll discuss it. But based on how the first installment went, you guys really want me to talk about pretty much every original species in the fandom, so I've got a long way to go. For those new to this series, since this only started like a month ago, the way I'll go about doing this type of video is pretty straightforward. Discuss the origins of the furry species of interest and proceed to break down its defining features along with the little facts that make it so special or unique to the fandom. And today's installment is very special because it revolves around a species created by a very beloved member of the furry fandom. The fandom species we will be breaking down and talking about today is none other than the Dutch Angel Dragon. But for those that don't know, the Dutch Angel Dragon species was first created and designed by the user Eno89777, who you can find on multiple social media platforms. The Dutch Angel Dragon, known as Telephone, is the first of its kind, also created by Eno and brought to life by the fursuit maker known as Phoenix Wolf Suits. That's the first time I've heard of them. Actually, no it isn't. A basic summary of the species is that it's supposed to be inspired by a dragon with horse-like anatomy, feathered wings, long ears, and a fur coat. An interesting piece of lore which explains the angel portion is that they're supernatural entities similar to ghosts in which they walk among us as guardian angels. I guess you can take the word spirit animal into whatever context you want nowadays. In all seriousness, that's actually the cutest thing. In addition to the previous lore, Dutch Angel Dragons live on a higher dimensional plane of existence and manipulate energy in various ways. One thing they do is utilize this energy to grant them the ability to fly, use elemental powers, or interact with physical realm objects and people. Now, to answer the curious question about the Dutch Angel Dragon's name, the word Dutch in the name does not refer to the Dutch language or people in any way. This was actually the name of Eno's late horse that inspired the species, which you can read more about Dutch the horse on the official Dutch Angel Dragon's website. Regardless of that, one of the biggest things behind the Dutch Angel Dragon is the lore or backstory behind the species. Even though I took like 30 seconds to talk about some of the lore already, there's a very long section explaining where the species fits into the universe, or really its own universe, which you can read more on yourself. Hell, I might actually do a follow-up video on this one about the lore on Dutch Angel Dragons altogether. Trust me when I say that it's pretty in-depth, but also quite fascinating. When Eno first created the species through her Fursona Telephone, she originally intended for it to be a closed species. This means that she was the rightful owner and no one else was allowed to have a Fursona of that species besides her. But after a great public interest in the species grew, in 2014, Eno allowed her Dutch Angel Dragons to be available as an open species. Of course, with her being the rightful owner to the Dutch Angel Dragon species altogether, there are guidelines and regulations that people must follow if they're looking to create their own. There are some physical traits that are required for each Dutch Angel Dragon, which we did go over earlier in this video, and you are recommended to avoid copying other people's designs, but besides that, there is general creative freedom with whatever anyone wants to make their Sona out to be. And now we're at the part where we introduce a very special guest. A friend of mine who just so happens to have a Dutch Angel Dragon Fursona will be coming on to discuss a little bit about herself, her experiences as her Fursona, and some of the other little interesting facts about the species that I might have missed. And this friend just so happens to be the creator of the species itself. So please give a very warm welcome to Eno, also known as Telephone.
Hi Beta! Thank you so much for doing a segment on Dutch Angel Dragons. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody enjoys the video. Where do I start? So, originally this was just an idea that I kind of had ever since I was a kid. I was always drawing like these dragon-like horses, and they've went through a lot of renditions before they became what they are today and what people see, but it's just been like a big passion of mine because horses are a big part of my life, and also I love dragons. They're cool, mysterious, I kind of just wanted to make something of my own, so that's when I started making Dutch Angel Dragons. When it came out, I was so overwhelmed by the positive feedback by everybody, and it's actually honestly encouraged me to finish a story that I've been developing for years that also come with this dragon. Another thing that people don't really realize about Dutch Angel Dragons is that they're their own species and not a hybrid. It seems to be a common mistake that people think that it is a dragon and a horse fused together. There are some inspirations from it, but also coming from other animals. Their lengthy legs was actually an idea I had from maned wolves. Their body and the way that their chest is built, along with their head slightly, is more equine. And then obviously the dragon part with the wings and kind of the whole lore type thing to it. But it is its own species, it's not a hybrid. Get out there, create, be a part of the story, do whatever you want. Like it's been a lot of fun, and to see so many people like grow from this and create their own characters, their own stories has been one of the most just awesome things I've ever seen. So thank you to everybody who has loved the Dutch Handle Dragon species.
Eno is such a wholesome person, and I will say it again, Telephone is adorable. So there you guys have it. That's pretty much the basic gist of information you would need to know about Dutch Handle Dragons in order for you to hopefully make your very own. Then again, just understanding the species better is always a good thing. Like I said before, there's a lot more to know about the lore and background of the Dutch Handle Dragon than what I mentioned, which is really only the bare essentials to the species, so be sure to check out the official Dutch Handle Dragons website if you want to learn everything there is to know about them. There is literally a website dedicated to Dutch Handle Dragons. If that doesn't tell you anything about the complexity and care that went into this species, then I don't know what else to say. But besides that, thank you guys for watching. As usual, let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. I appreciate any and all feedback on this series since it's only just starting to be a thing. I also wanted to give a big thank you to Eno for helping me out with this video, both as a fact check and for coming on to tell us about her species. I know this kinda doesn't make sense for me to say knowing where I am currently, but be sure to go and check out what she does both on Twitter and YouTube since she'll be uploading videos again in the near future. Still, thank you Eno so much for coming onto this video series. It was awesome having you, and I hope to be able to work with you again in the future. Besides that, I've got nothing else. Have a good day, guys, and as always, stay life jacket. Take care.